morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming this morning. It's nice to have a few of you here, and we're not talking to nobody, so thank you again. Thank you, Steve, for the introduction. Yes, we're Greg and Laura Bennett, both professional triathletes. This morning, we want to talk briefly about who we are and what we've done a little bit, but more importantly about Ribose and how we've used Ribose in our career, and maybe give you guys some ideas to leave with how you might be able to use it in your life as well. So to begin with, who we are. Like mentioned, we're husband and wife, professional triathletes. We've both been in the sport for more than 30 years, actually. Laura's been professional for just over 20 years, I think, and I've been a professional athlete for about 26 years now. In 2000, we decided to coach ourselves, and this was a little scary at the time because it's always nice to have someone tell you what to do. But we decided to go out on our own and see how we could do. As it turns out, we were pretty fortunate. We figured a lot of things out, and we went to the last 3 Olympic Games. We won the World Series a couple of times. We won a couple of World Championships, and over about 100 international races combined together. So together we were able to figure a lot of things out. It took a lot of hard work, a lot of discipline, a lot of 40-hour training weeks, but we couldn't have done it without the amazing team behind us. And that team includes not only our chiropractors and our massage therapists, of which we get 5 or 6 massages a week, and we get chiropractic once a week when we're in hard training, but also our bike mechanics and all the people that travel with us. And most important, it includes the brands that we work with. So for us, we work with some of the best bike brands in the world. Right now we're with Trek Bikes, and we work with the best wetsuit companies. But the most important thing for us was our fueling. Our ability to get up every single day and train up to 8 hours a day in, day out, for months, weeks, years. And that was what led us to Bioenergy Ribose in 2008. And at that time, I was in my mid-30s and Laura was in her young 30s. And we wanted to keep being professional athletes. We loved what we were doing and we wanted to keep going. And for most sports, as many of you would know, the early 30s tends to be the time athletes die off, especially in the endurance sports. But we wanted to keep going. And so we found Ribose, or they found us, whatever the relationship was, it was a perfect timing for us. And 8 years later, here we are today, still racing professionally, racing people half our age. And we do contribute a lot of it to the fact that we found Ribose. And I'm going to pass it over to Laura now, who's going to give you more of the chemistry and geek you out with some of the science, which I really struggle with. I can tell you how I feel, but Laura's going to tell you more about the science of Ribose.
Yeah, I'll do my best. I think if we went for a run together, I'd be a little more relaxed and a little bit easier to flow with what my message is I'd like to get across to you guys. So if I get a little clinical, just come over to our booth, G37, afterwards, and we can talk a little more relaxed about it. But the great thing about Ribose is that it's a naturally occurring sugar. Our body produces it from glucose, so everybody needs it. It's in us, and we can never keep up with the demands. And especially nowadays, where if you don't have 5 things going on, what are you doing with your life? So having Ribose in it is fantastic in a way that it supports what we want to get done every day. Another highlight I find super beneficial to us is that it's a negative glycemic sugar. So added to products that have high glycemic, it often offsets the sugar spikes that you can have by taking in pure glucose. So that benefits in keeping our blood sugar level, keeping you from having spikes, and keeping you balanced. It's not a stimulant like caffeine, which is advantageous. A lot of us, if we, like for us in racing, maybe we would have caffeine before because we want to be amped and ready to go and ready to fight out there. And with having Ribose in our drinks and everything, it keeps your sustained energy all day. It's almost like how we've spoken about it, where it kind of keeps your battery running. I just want to get what I want to get done today. I don't need any hype about it, but I want to make sure everything fits in, so it's a great ingredient for that. It's a central component of your ATP, which we all have, and it's very difficult to keep up with that. And ATP being the compound that stores and delivers energy to the cell. So constantly replacing and supporting our ATP gives us energy and keeps us healthy. It's definitely been proven in athletic performance. I mean, like Greg mentioned, we've been using it for 8 years, and as our training volume and as we get older, our body doesn't produce as much. So having the support has really benefited us greatly in the fact that it boosts your muscle energy. Again, it supports people with chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, and also heart conditions. So it's whether you're an athlete full-time like we are, or you're just active, wanting to stay healthy, or if you can't fit that in your life and you just want to, you're more brain orientated and go with work, it'll definitely support you in all those areas. So Greg's going to tell you a little bit about how we've used it, and then I'll come back and tell you a little bit more how you can maybe implement it.
Yeah, good job with the science. Yeah, so for Laura and I, like we said, we've used it religiously for the last 8 years, whether that's in hard training or even in our recovery time. It's become part of our daily routine. And that routine is fairly simple. It's basically, we get up in the morning, we have our coffee maybe an hour before we go out training, and within that coffee we have 5 grams of ribose immediately in it. It's got a little bit of sweetness to it in the ribose, but not much at all. It's very subtle tasting. We do that for a number of reasons. One, we have the coffee, we like the stimulant of caffeine, obviously, to get us going for the day, but we also want to start with some energy for the day. And what we've noticed with the ribose is rather than having the caffeine crash, that a lot of us are up and then we come an hour later like, oh, I need another cup of coffee, I'm exhausted. We're really just coming down from a caffeine high. And so we found with the ribose that's eased us off that stimulant a little bit easier. And so for us it's been critical, especially as we do 3 to 4 or 5 hours of training in the morning. It gives us a chance to have that sustained energy throughout the morning training without just a caffeine spike. Then we often take it around lunchtime or in our recovery drink when we come home. Again, another 5 grams. That's often just in order so we can go out and do the afternoon training. And like Laura said, it's like it keeps your battery going. So it used to be in the past, we would be at home, sitting on the couch, exhausted from the training in the morning, like thinking of any excuse not to go out and do another long run or another bike or a swim. And then we found with this, with ribose, it actually changed the way we felt in a way that was like, yeah, I really think I can go out and do this workout. It's not to say that that workout was going to be the greatest workout of all, but it changed the way we felt in order to go, I can go do this, rather than lying on the couch feeling absolutely exhausted. And so that was the biggest feeling I think we had of all when we started using ribose, that all of a sudden the second workouts in the day came a little bit easier to us. Then the third time we use it, and this is usually when we're just in really hard training or in high altitude training. We spend some time in altitude simulated temp type things where we sleep at 12,000 feet. And we're in hard training that we often take another 5 grams right before bed. And at first when we were told, oh, you should try it before bed, we're like, what are you talking about? It's going to give me energy, I'm going to be up all night. But the fact is, it takes more energy to relax a muscle than it does to contract a muscle. And so we found that it actually helped us a lot with our sleep during those nights. Because when we get really exhausted from hard training, you'll talk to many athletes that one of the ways of finding out if you're overtrained is you cannot sleep. Your muscles do not turn off, and your body is really struggling to relax. We found we were able to relax so much better once we started taking the ribose before bed. And again, like I said, we usually do that in big push phases in our training when we're completely exhausted. But the other 2 times we're doing that any time of year, always in the morning with coffee, and then usually once during the day, throughout the day, just to keep ourselves going. So that's about 15 grams we would take during a big training cycle. But we didn't start there. We started with a lot less than that, and maybe I'll pass it over to you. You can share
exactly.
how they can do it.
So I mean, everybody that we suggest getting on it, you try to dose small doses as you get used to it. And I mean, there's been benefits up to 5 grams. So you really don't have to go to the extreme that we did, but we needed a lot more energy because we were driving our bodies day in, day out for 360 days a year. Like we would have maybe a couple of weeks off during the year. So it is a benefit at smaller doses. And I think the easiest way that, like Greg said, we found is having it in our coffee in the morning. But if you're not a coffee drinker, just having in a little bit of water. Like right now I'm not on coffee, just taking a break off of it, and I just have it in a little shot glass, and it's half as sweet as sugar, so it's very mild. And yeah, I think it's a great way for everyone to start their day and be sustained with energy without having the highs and lows. So we'll, if you guys have any more questions, we can ask if you have any now, but we'll be over in booth G37. So we're also giving away Fitbits today. If you guys want to sign up by 1 o'clock, you'll have an opportunity to earn one. And yeah, so I don't know, should we open up a few questions? Or?
Yeah, well, first, thank you for your presentation.
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
sure, thanks.
And we do have time for some questions, so just raise your hand. I have a mic if anybody has any questions.
So the average person, you're going to start out, like I took some yesterday, I did 5 grams. I'm pretty athletic, I work out every day.
Nice.
So, I'm constant, year round. It's 30 minutes really intense.
Awesome.
So I took 5 grams yesterday. So I got up this morning, I immediately took 5 grams, just put it in water, tugged it down. It's a nice sweet taste. So maybe later, someone in sort of my position, I want to maybe think about taking another 5 grams, 3 to 5 grams later in the day before I work out.
Yeah, so you'd work out twice a day?
No, just once.
Just
Usually
once?
in the afternoon, late
Oh,
afternoon.
once in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the morning and then maybe around lunchtime.
Okay.
And then that way you wouldn't feel like a lull in the back half of the day.
Okay. How far do you do it before a workout? Is that important to?
We do it
anytime?
during workouts as well. We often
Yeah.
have it in our water bottles on long bike rides and things. You can do it during your workouts, pre, post. We haven't found any effect in terms of timing of it. Definitely doesn't upset your stomach or give you any gastro issues.
Yeah.
So we've felt very comfortable on it using it any time, yeah.
Right. And so it's not a particular time or anything. It's just throughout the day or anything.
No.
Nothing special, because
Yeah.
really it's just providing you the energy that you need. So it's just reproducing it. Your body's going to use it, the ATPs, as the more active you are. And
Yeah.
so it's just
And it's
giving
not
that
just for
support.
working out. I mean, we got our whole team on it. So
Yeah.
we give it to
Right.
our massage therapists, our chiropractors, because when we want them traveling with us and working on us, we want them to have the energy to keep going.
At their best.
We want them at their best. And I think now we've got them all addicted to it. And I say addiction in a
Good
light
way,
way. I mean,
right.
but it has been a very useful thing that, you know, even when we used to do ice baths, I'd put my massage therapists and chiropractors in the ice bath just because I think it was stimulating to get them excited and going for races as well. Like, I think there's an energy that you need around you as athletes, and we pick up on negative energy very easily.
Yeah.
And so our team need to be upbeat, they need to be positive, they need to feel good. So we often get them doing a lot of the recovery things that we would be doing as athletes because we want to be surrounded by that energy. Yeah.
So really intense workouts, like I got a guy we're sponsoring, he's doing the Tough Mudders. He's going to do 4 or 5 this year, so he's really intense training. So he could do 10 to 15 grams a day. You
Sure.
think?
Yeah, spread out over the day. I would
Right.
recommend it spreading it
The
out.
muscle recovery, if he does a really hard session, you can take it afterwards and you'll feel it. So you could take 2.5 grams before you go training and then 2.5 after. Or
Yeah.
if you didn't want to use it before, you could take it after. It's really great about just reproducing the energy.
Yeah.
Right. And this is
The
the
muscle
missing. This is an ATP, but it's a missing link that
Correct.
helps produce the ATP,
Correct.
right? The sugar, this
Yep.
ribose sugar, which
Yeah.
our body produces it naturally, and then as we get older, we stop producing it. That's
Yeah.
the idea.
Very,
Yeah.
very well said.
It
Yes.
does, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. It's like HGH.
Yeah.
You know. I mean,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Except natural
We have to be careful
and
with
legal.
that. Legal.
Any other questions?
Great, yeah. Chat over here.
Okay, very
Yeah,
good. Thank you.
guys.
you, guys.
I appreciate your time.